Ever since you were a child, all you've ever wanted was to be considered normal.
Right, yes.
What is it this morning that you want people to know about Reggie beyond the face?
I want them to know me for who I am and not what I look like. Take time to get to know me.
Well, we're going to take that time to get to know you in this next hour, all right?
Thank you.
Debra Duncan is next.
From the ABC Channel 13 studios, it's Houston's own Debra Duncan.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? Good morning to all of you in our studio audience, and good morning to all of you at home as well. A few weeks ago, we were asked to do a show on a man named Reggie Bibbs. We were warned that when we saw Reggie for the first time, it would be shocking. Reggie Bibbs has a genetic disease that can cause severe deformities. For some people, being in the same room is too disturbing and too unbearable. But as so many people in Houston have learned, once you discover Reggie, the human being behind the face, you're never the same.
I remember the first time I saw him, I was shocked. It took me a few seconds to kind of recover my composure and to not be sort of fascinated by the way he looked, but to actually get a chance to talk to him. And then after a few moments, the image just kind of melted away. He is such a charming and warm person, and he was so open and so friendly that I found myself forgetting completely about what he looked like and focusing totally on the person that he is.
Reggie said his life changed when he met me, but in reality, my life changed when I met Reggie. You'll never forget him. He's unforgettable.
Reggie's remarkable story starts with a remarkable woman. Please welcome his mom, Dorothy, to the show this morning. Good morning, Dorothy. Good morning. Reggie, when he was born, you, like any mom, you were happy, proud, had a beautiful baby, and for most intents and purposes, looked like a normal child, except for maybe a couple of little things.
Yes, he was very tiny, and he had, it's like a lump in the roof of his mouth, and then his left eye was kind of, you know, the eyelid was overlapping. Yeah. And yeah, I worried about that because when he tried, you know, when I tried to give him his bottle, it was hard for him to take the bottle because inside of his mouth was, you know, kind of small.
Yeah. Now, at this time, were you thinking, well, all we have to do is get rid of that little lump, whatever it is?
I thought we could just take him, you know, and have it removed. Then I noticed, you know, when I would try to, you know, put his shoes on, he cried a lot because his left foot had, you know, a fatty tissue on it. And so, you know, one of my sisters suggested I take him to the, you know, Crippled Children's Clinic and see, because she said because they can fit him for shoes. Right. So when I took him there, the doctors examined him. They gave him a physical, and they said he needs to be seen by the eye doctors and, you know, and all of that. So they started seeing him in other clinics, and this is when they told me he had a genetic disorder called neurofibromatosis.
Now, when they told you that, what did that mean to you? It could either mean the worst of things or the best of things. You could think it's something you could take care of, you know, easily, or?
He said, I had never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. He said they are, you know, it's tumors that grow on the body, and they grow as the body grows. He says there's no cure for it. They don't know what caused it, but we can, you know, just follow him and, you know, and try to make him as comfortable as possible. Yeah.
And then you found out that Reggie wasn't the only one in the family who had it.
Right.
You have it as well, although it looks different on you than it does on Reggie.
Yes, I have a flesh tumor and some nodules, and the doctor said this, you know, disease is, you know, it's like that. They said every, you know, person that have it in a different manner. Yeah. So some people have the tumors on the outside. Some have them where they cause disfigurement, things like that.
As a parent, to be told that this is a genetic disease, was there ever a feeling of guilt? Not that there should have been, but was there ever a feeling of guilt?
Well, yes, I did, because I didn't know what it was at first, and I said, well, maybe it's something, you know, I did or didn't do, like maybe medication or whatever. And so the doctor said, no, it's, you know, this is a rare disease, and it's, at that time, very little was known about it.
Right.
You know.
Reggie started to, I guess you could see the effects of this disease rather quickly, and you started to see him change over the years.
As he grew, they told me as he grew, the tumors would grow. And sometimes they get to a certain point and stop growing. Sometimes they continue to grow, and you know, it causes death.
You refused to let that limit Reggie's life. You took him everywhere.
That's right, I did. I took him everywhere. You know, he was treated like the rest of the children.
Right. And it's one thing when he's still basically at home with you and you can be with him when you take him out different places. It's another thing when it comes time for school. And you had to take him up to school and literally ask the principal, is there someone here who would teach my child and treat my child as a normal child? Reggie Bibbs' life would change forever the day he walked into his first grade class. More on that right after this. She opened her classroom and her heart to the little boy with the shocking face. But not all the kids at school would be so accepting. That story is next. And later, meet Reggie Bibbs.
Try walking in my shoes. Live like that I have to live one day. I would just want to know how would that person feel if it was them.
Old, Reggie Bibbs' face was so deformed, his mother wondered if anyone would be willing to teach her child. And when you would take Reggie out in public, how did people react?
Well, people stared, you know, and everything, and they were whispering among themselves, but they never said anything to us. But I could see the stares and all of that.
For the most part, from adults, did you worry about how kids would react to him?
Yes, I did.
Did he have friends when he was little?
Well, yes, he did. He had friends, you know, in the neighborhood, and they seemed to enjoy being with him and all of that. He was very friendly, and it just seems like everybody, it took, you know, they wanted advice from him and things like that. They always asked him questions and advice about things.
Yeah. But it was time to go to school and meet new kids. And how did you go about going to the school? Well, and what did you ask the principal to do?
Okay, I went to the principal, and, you know, I took him with me. And I, you know, told her what, you know, his problem was, and how would I go about getting him, you know, registered in school, and, you know, just what to do. So she said, well, I know exactly what to do. I have a nice teacher who could really handle, you know, take care of him.
Yeah.
She could handle this.
Right now, we want to meet that first grade teacher who went beyond a parent and saw a child in need. Please welcome Johnny Howell to the show. Hi, Johnny. The principal came to you, and what did he say to you? Were you prepared for the child that you would see?
It was a lady, Miss Hunt, and she called me in her office, and she said, I have a special child for you. And I said, good. And then she started to tell me all about Reggie, and that he had been in her office and she had seen him. And then she pulled out a picture of Reggie, and the first thing I said was, no, I don't think I can do that. I'm a young teacher. It was my second year of teaching.
Why did you think you couldn't do that?
Just looking at the picture and probably thinking what other people would say about Reggie or say something to him.
You just thought it would break your heart to see the way he was
treated. It did.
Yeah.
It did. My nose turned red, teary-eyed, and I just hardly could say anything. And then she said, do you have a son? She knew I did, but asked me, and I said, yes, the same age. He was the same. I said, he's the same age as this child is. And she said, and if he had a disability, what would you want? I said, the best teacher in the world for him, the one that would care for him and love him. And she said, you're the one. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I cried when I went home that day. I cried and I cried and I cried. Because I just felt this child probably would have people that would look at him and make fun of him.
You became kind of his guardian angel, his protector, if you will. And in fact, today, you are like his second mom.
Yes. She's the quiet mom, I'm the vocal mom.
In fact, she told me this morning, she goes, yeah, Dorothy's the quiet one. You said, I'm the one that can raise H-E-L-L if I have to. Did you have to in school when he got there?
No, I didn't, because I asked the principal if I could go around and talk to the classes, and she let me go around, and I told them I didn't want to have any problems with the children. I said that they would look at him, and I knew they would. I did not want anybody pointing at him or saying anything to him, and that he would be eating with us, he would be going outside, he would be doing everything with us.
Yeah. How important was that to educate the children first, and what impact did you think that had when Reggie finally got to the school?
I think it had a tremendous impact, because I know that they wanted to look more than they did sometimes, but when I would glare at them, they would turn away. Yeah. And there was only one time I had a problem, and I had forgotten about it, and Reggie was speaking, I think it was in Dallas a few years ago, and I said, Reggie, we never had a problem with any of the children in the school, and Reggie said, just one time when you shook that child when he said something to me, and I went, thank you, Reggie, that's enough.
Yeah, that's that raising H-E-L-L part that we were talking about. Reggie,
and I grew to love him, and still do to this day.
Oh, yeah. Reggie says he's gotten so much out of you. You kind of gave him a great start in terms of public life. What did he give to you?
A whole new look and respect for people that have special needs, and to know that it hurts others that love him when someone does something to him.
Yeah. An understanding that the outside package does not define a person.
No, no, and he would always just look up at me. He would look up, and he'd say just real nice little things. You're so pretty, you know, and it could be the worst day, and you're so pretty. And I still, when I think of Reggie, always I think of me wearing my hair down like it is now. When they were going to put it up, I said, no, Reggie likes it down. And I'd always say, Reggie, do you want my hair up or down? Because I've always had it long like this. Yeah. And he would always say he wanted it long, because he said, you're like my Cinderella.
And you did one of the things that I think is so simple for so many of us to do, and somehow we just don't find time in the day to do it. You greeted him with a smile and a hug. And what you also did was you speak, I think, universally to many teachers who spend so much time with kids who they may not be in a case like Reggie, but they're struggling with something in life. And that's what makes teachers more than just somebody who's an educator in the classroom. Right. And we thank you for that. I know Reggie and Dorothy thank you for that as well. But when Johnny and the rest of the guests on today's show look at Reggie, we see so much more than a deformed face. But other people fear what they don't know, and Reggie still struggles to be accepted.
Walking around, shopping, going to places to eat, it's really hard, because it just gives me a sick feeling, because I'm always worried about what will someone say, and most of the time, you know, someone will say something or react in a way that really hurts me. They may scream, they may run away. What really hurts is when someone thinks it's funny, and they may point and laugh. But I can understand if someone maybe it's, you know, startled at first, but for someone to think that it's funny, that's what really hurts.
And we will meet Reggie when we come back. Reggie Bibbs was born with a genetic disease that causes huge tumors to grow on his face and his body. His mother, Dorothy, has it too, but her tumors have remained small so far. We want to show you what Reggie would look like if he didn't have this disease. This picture is superimposed to show Reggie's face without the tumors and without the deformities. This picture is just a photographer's creation, though, because Reggie Bibbs has never known what it's like to have a normal face. We want you to meet Reggie Bibbs now. Please welcome him to the show. Well, Reggie, you've got a fan club out here.
Thank you, yes,
What's it like to hear people cheering for you? Because it wasn't always like that, and isn't like that on a day-to-day basis sometimes.
It gives me a warm feeling to know that people really care.
Yeah. And we talked earlier this morning, and you said, I want people to know the Reggie beyond the face. And I got to tell you, before I met you, people had said to me, oh, you better be prepared, you better be prepared, you better be prepared. And I thought, okay. When I saw you right away, I was not shocked.
Right.
And you know why?
Why?
It's because of what you exude from here. You have a wonderful, beautiful spirit, and it just is overflowing.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is it you want people to know about Reggie, the human being?
I want people to just give it a chance. It may be hard at first, but most people that meet me really like me once they take time to get to know who I am, and I may have the same feelings they have. I hurt just like someone else might hurt. Just look at the inside and get to know me for who I am.
Yeah. You've oftentimes said you would give anything just to have one day to have a normal face. What do you think that one day would be like if you had this, and I'm not quite sure what I think normal is anymore, but if you had what you call a normal face?
Hey, if I had a so-called normal face or just look like everyone else, I would want to know what it's like just to go to the grocery store or go to Astor World and just walk around and be like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. You've actually been asked to leave places. Do you remember the first time that happened to you? What does that make you feel like?
Well, I've actually been locked out of places. Like when I'm going up to stores, one store I was going to, they actually locked the door and didn't want to let me in.
What reason could they possibly give you for that?
Well, they just looked at the outside. They didn't take time to really get to know me as a person, and they was just afraid, and they just locked the door.
When were you first aware that you were different?
And, well, when we were kids, some of the neighborhood kids, we would walk around outside without any shoes on, and we would walk in the water and walk on the sidewalk and make footprints, and everybody else's footprints would be the same, but I had one that was different, and I've always wanted to make the same kind of footprints everyone else wanted to make.
Knowing what you were going through, Reggie, everyone talks about what a wonderful heart you have. Knowing what you were going through, did you ever kind of take other kids who were picked on under your wing and just kind of give them comfort as well? Is that where you get this big heart from?
Well, I don't know if I have a big heart. I just treat people the way I would want to be treated.
Yeah. You say you don't know if you have a big heart. I'm going to ask the audience, because a number of people in the audience know you. Does this man have a big heart? Yeah. Well, part of having this disease, you're kind of a spokesperson, if you will, for neurofibromatosis, and you've gotten a chance to experience more in a lifetime than most of us get to experience. You've met a lot of people.
Right, yes.
What are some of your fondest memories?
My fondest memories are when I met Sharon Stone.
Yeah, ooh, and the men are going, all right, yeah.
Right. She was a really nice person, and sometimes when you get ready to meet someone, you expect a reaction. Mm-hmm. But when I first met her, she didn't react. she just came over, she shook my hand, and she just wanted to know, can I see out of my left eye? And after I answered the question, she went back with my friend, Greg Gorman, a photographer, and she cried, and she talked about how blessed she really is and how they just didn't really realize how lucky they really are.
Yeah.
And when she came back, there was another photographer wanting to take pictures of all of the celebrities coming in. She refused to take a picture with anyone. She would only agree to take a picture with me, and that made me really feel special.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Yeah, it did.
There are a lot of people who have referred to you as kind of like Houston's Elephant Man. I know you don't like that term Elephant Man, but for some people, it's the closest reference that they have because we don't know a whole lot about this disease, and they may not have seen someone who has it to this severity or this degree of that you have. And so when they say Elephant Man, why is it that you really oppose that?
Well, it's just that the Elephant Man didn't have neurofibromatosis. He had Proteus syndrome, and I just want to be referred to as Reggie, not a person with neurofibromatosis or disfigurement. I just want to be known as Reggie.
Because that's who you are.
Right.
This is so difficult because I hurt that people have hurt you. That just, I have never run into a guest before that I felt so badly for you. But at the same time, I feel good for you because you have done a lot in terms of touching people's lives. Do you realize what you've done for people?
No, I don't. But I do feel like, you know, I wouldn't change anything if I could, because I do feel like I have helped people, but I feel like I have had a chance to experience a lot of things that no one else really would have a chance to. And I like talking to people, and I feel like I can help someone else that may have a disability or someone else that may feel like they have no hope. Because if I can do it, I know anyone else can.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about the disease itself, because I know people are curious. One, do these tumors hurt? Are you in pain?
Yes, I am. Some days I may just be watching TV, and all of a sudden I may feel a sharp pain or a throbbing. But yes, I do have pain.
Yeah. And then people, I'm sure, oftentimes ask the question, can they do plastic surgery?
They can do surgery, but I feel like, why should I have to change to make someone else comfortable?
Yeah, because it would just be cosmetic.
Right. Yes. I want to be accepted for what I look like, and I don't want to change to make someone else happy.
And Dorothy, when you first found out that Reggie had this disease, they told you he would live to how long?
Well, they said about 10 years old. He wouldn't live, past, they don't live to become teenagers or adults.
Yeah. Well, you are an adult now, and what that says to me is God's keeping you around because you have some work to do.
Yes, it is.
And you've already done it, and you'll continue to do it. Reggie's two sisters and some of his nieces and nephews are here this morning as well. They have neurofibromatosis, all of them. They have it as well, just as Dorothy has, and we'll meet them when we come back. How can one person with neurofibromatosis look so normal and someone like Reggie look so shocking? What is this strange disease, and did you know you could have it and not even know it? Stay tuned. More on that still to come. Reggie Bibbs has been kicked out of restaurants and public libraries because people say he makes everyone uncomfortable. Reggie has a genetic disease called neurofibromatosis. His mother Dorothy has it too, and so do his two sisters, Portia and Elisa. Please welcome them to the show this morning. As we mentioned earlier, this disease can manifest itself in a number of ways. It can be something that's rather mild in terms of appearance and something that is as severe as the case that Reggie has. For you two, and Portia, let me start with you, how do you know, what do you see on your body that tells you you have this disease?
I have the nodules, or the fibromas.
And that's what we see on your arms, just a little, they almost look like little pimples.
Little pimples, but like little flesh tumors.
And when you first saw those appear on your body, what did you think they were?
Well, we had been followed by the clinic, so we knew what they were.
Did you know what those were before Reggie was diagnosed?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And Elisa, for you?
Yes, we also too.
Now, I know when I was growing up, if somebody was picking on my little brother, it was on, okay? Debra was showing up and they were in trouble. Did you find yourselves having to defend Reggie growing up because there are other people who are just cruel to him?
Every day, just about every day.
Yeah.
When we went to the store or wherever we went out.
Did that make you all closer as a family, Elisa?
Closer.
Closer? What was an average day like?
Well, just like an everyday family, we would get up and play, go outside, and we knew that we were going to have to, defend Reggie if we all went outside and played or whatever, because we had people would come down the street that didn't live on the street or whatever, and maybe would make fun of him.
Yeah.
And we knew that we were going to have to defend him.
And you did.
And we did.
Are there some casualties along the way, Elisa?
Yes.
Okay. Reggie, we have a number of people in the audience who just want to take time out to talk to you. And hi, what's your name, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Laura Owens, and I have neurofibromatosis. And there are days also that I get down about having the disease, and I've been chased as a child and everything like that. And when I get down, I think about you, and you inspire me, and then everything's okay.
Thank you.
And you can bring your Kleenex with you. I got to tell you, this is one of those shows where we had to hand out boxes of Kleenex during the commercial break there. Hi, what's your name?
Jane.
And Karen, what'd you like to say?
That I have it too. And I don't like it when people make fun of me either. I mean...
Sweetie, it's okay.
In 5th grade...
Give me the Kleenex, please. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Thank you. Well, school was tough for you, too.
In 5th grade, they would call me to see school. And I hated it.
And for other kids who are going through this, what do you want to say to the kids who make fun of other kids and the kids who are dealing with it?
I'm nice. And people ask me what this is. It really hurts my feelings. And they make fun of me. What this is. They ask me if it's a pimple.
People who would take time out to make fun of someone else are weak people who have a lot of stuff going on inside of them. You're stronger than they are. You're a more beautiful person than they are. You just always remember that. We did a show not long ago on kids who are being bullied, and the example that I learned from my minister, actually, when I was going through a tough time a few years ago, he said, those people who say nasty things to you, get down on all fours and picture those people on your back, because those people have to feel taller, and the only way they can do that is by standing on somebody else's back. But when you stand up, what happens? They fall off. They fall off, and they're back on the ground where they belong. But you have to stand up. It shouldn't hurt you because you know who you are from the inside out. And nobody can take that away from you when you know who you are from the inside out. And the amazing thing is that when we all say, oh, I'd like to be normal or something, is that even when you are so-called normal, like how many of you in here who are so-called normal have gone through tough times when people had something to say about you, people were rude to you, people made fun of you. So there's absolutely no such thing as perfect, except for one thing, God, but anyway, you know. All right. Thank you. And what would you like to say to Reggie?
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Thank you very much. And you just tell those people if they start messing with you, then Portia, Lisa, and I are going to have to show up and take them on. Okay. Who else wanted to say something to Reggie?
I want to say something.
What's your name?
My name is Karen. Hi, Reggie. And I just want you to think about one thing, and everyone else that has that disease. God is able. Don't you worry about a thing, because I have a brother that had a stroke, and they don't think that he's going to come out of it, but I know he is. And just like the doctor told your mother that you wouldn't live past 10 years old, look at you now.
Yes.
God is able.
34 years old.
Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about nobody. Okay?
I know it's not Sunday yet, but let the church say amen. Okay. And let me get you to stand up for me, if you will. Now, you are Reggie's niece.
Yes.
And you are which one?
Cody.
You have this disease as well.
Yes. I just have like little spots and stuff. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
No nodules or nothing.
Yeah. When you were diagnosed, what did you think? When you see Reggie and you know that at any time in this disease, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about this to doctors a little bit later, is that at times you don't know when it could be as severe as Reggie's case, or it could just stay like it is now.
I don't know. I really don't say nothing. I support Reggie any way I can, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah. And then you have it's Reggie's other niece right over here. You got a baby in your arms, so you can just remain seated. What have you learned from Reggie?
Oh, I've learned so much. I know him personally, so the things I have learned, that he's very outspoken,
Yeah.
and inspiring. You know, I watch him, and we don't look at him as any different, but one of our uncles, one of the strict ones, you know.
You want the strict ones, huh?
Of course.
He wants you to grow up right.
Yes, ma'am. He's very generous, and
you must have had a memory there that you didn't want to share with him.
Nah, he's real nice. He's very sweet, loving.
What was that laugh about?
Very generous.
Yeah,
very generous.
We got cars and things. What's going on?
On payday, you know, along those lines. He's got a lot of friends. Very sociable.
All right. Well, thank you very much. In fact, you guys have said that Reggie is the glue in your family. Reggie and his family all have neurofibromatosis, but why has it affected Reggie so severely? Find out when we come back, and we'll learn more about this disease in general. He's never had a real vacation with his mom, and he spends most of the money he makes supporting his family. So coming up, we planned a special surprise for Reggie, and you don't want to miss it. Don't go away.
Some people are scared when they first see me. Then they wonder what happened to me. It's not easy living with neurofibromatosis, but I have a pretty severe case. Not everybody looks like me, but I guess I'm kind of special. I love being in the spotlight and educating people, so I helped make a video. It's called This Is NF, and it's free when you call 1-800-WHAT-IS-NF. It's great. I'm in it.
Well, what is NF? Neurofibromatosis is described as a time bomb waiting to go off. It means the small tumors and spots in the bodies of people who have the disease could become as large as Reggie's. Doctors Bartlett Moore and John Slopis say this genetic disease is not as uncommon as you might think. Also with us today is Carolyn Farb, and many of you know her as a fundraiser for nonprofit organizations. You did it for this organization, and you said it was one of the toughest things you had to do.
Well, in 1991, I was involved in neurofibromatosis, and it's not a popular cause. It's not a pretty disease. It was like AIDS. It was one of the most difficult causes I've ever had to raise funds for. But now we have an endowed lectureship, and there are programs like yours, because Reggie called me after a recent incident, and that's when I called you to tell you what had happened to him when he was simply trying to get a hamburger. And I thought, it's time again. He takes 6 steps forward, and then someone knocks him back. But now this is going to take him forward again and help spread compassion about people that have disabilities like neurofibromatosis.
Yes, education is the key, Carolyn.
It's the key.
Thank you.
And compassion.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Reggie, what was that incident when you went to go get a hamburger?
After I ordered my hamburger, I drove up to the window to pay for it. The girl that answered the window, she took one look at me, and she screamed and slammed the window and ran away.
I hope she's watching this morning. Dr. Slopis, you said that this is not as uncommon as we might think it is, and I guess maybe in Reggie's case that is more rare, but why do you say it's not as uncommon as we might think it is?
Well, the incidence of this is about 1 in 3,000 in the population.
And that compares to what kind of diseases?
It's the most common disorder that's genetic. And the issue is that not everyone is the same. You mentioned that earlier on the program, and some people actually have nothing but the cafe au lait spots.
Right. In fact, somebody in our audience here has one that wanted to show us, and it's probably going to be kind of hard to see on camera. If I could get a camera over here a little bit close. Let me get you to stand up for me if you could, and then we'll step over here.
The term cafe au lait comes just from coffee with milk. And it's a brown, light brown spot. It depends on how dark the individual is, how easy it is to see.
Right.
They may be present at birth, and they may present a little bit later than that, and they tend to increase in number as time goes by and as you're exposed to the sun more.
I would imagine a lot of people don't know they have it, because I'm looking at something like that I would think is just a birthmark or the sun or something like that. Did you know that this was a result of neurofibromatosis?
Well, yes, I was diagnosed when I was 12.
Okay.
And so I have several of these, as well as some of the small neurofibromatosis fibroid tumors.
Is that what prompted your parents to take you in to the doctor?
Actually, a dermatologist just recognized it and diagnosed it. So that was not the primary reason to go in.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we really should point out that up to 5 cafe au lait spots are not considered diagnostic of this disorder. So lots of people have large freckles. They shouldn't necessarily think they have NF type 1, but it's a very important thing for them to think about if they have other findings.
Okay, so there's the cafe au lait spots, and Dr. Moore, what are other signs of having fibromatosis?
There's a number of diagnostic criteria. Another one is the neurofibromas, if you've seen some examples of. And third one is high incidence of optic gliomas, which are a type of fairly benign brain tumor that occur on the optic nerves, the seeing nerves of the brain. And then there's some orthopedic problems that occur as well.
Right. And that's the case with Reggie?
Yes.
We talked about. And then learning disabilities?
Learning disabilities, interestingly, are very common in this group of individuals. About 40 to 50% have learning disability or some sort of behavioral thing like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah. And another symptom that we talked about a little bit earlier with some of Reggie's other family members, we can take a look at the arm here, is the little nodules that appear on the body there, the little tumors that grow on the body. Let's back up and tell us, because it's a big word, neurofibromatosis, what is it?
Well, as Dr. Slopis said, it's a genetic disorder that's very common, and it's neurofibromatosis means neuro means nerves or brain, and fibroma means it's along the fibers like the nerve fibers, and their growths. They're mostly benign growths along various parts of the body, within the interior of the body as well as the exterior of the body.
Yeah. We heard Reggie say a little bit earlier that he wouldn't get plastic surgery if it was available to him because he wants people to accept him for who he is, and that's who he is. But Dr. Slopis, if someone wanted plastic surgery, is this something that's not suggested?
Well, if these fibromas are just on the surface of the skin and very superficial, then it's reasonable to try that. But if it involves the bone and changes the shape of bone, then it's quite possible that you would not want to consider that, because frequently if you try to do surgery on an affected bone, the bone will not heal.
Yeah.
And that's a very important concept for people to understand.
And do these tumors come back if you could remove them?
Well, they usually come back. It's impossible to be certain that you've covered a wide enough area to remove the entire tumor.
Yeah, so for health reasons you wouldn't do it, and if it's just for cosmetic reasons, you don't want to put a patient at risk just for that.
Correct.
Okay. What's your name?
My name's Lisa Bowe. I have the disease. I did not know until my senior year of high school, until '86, when my left arm got bigger than my right. That's when I was told. I know for 9 years we were just handed a book and that was it. And Reggie, in March of '95, Reggie was the first person I got to meet and had the privilege of riding with him and his family for 2 years out to our family camp which we have every year, where everybody comes together, that we can let down our hair and have fun and know there's no one going to make fun of us, or I have to keep my arm wrapped up because people think they're going to catch it or something like that.
Yeah, that is, I would imagine a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to catch it if I touch this person. But you talked about not knowing as a patient, not getting enough information. Carolyn talked about how tough it was to raise money for this. Doctors, is it getting better in terms of the education?
Well, I think the educational part is really getting much better. We're getting the word out because, you know, that's an awful lot of people, 1 in 3,000 to have this disorder. And many people don't even know they have it because the manifestations of it are so varied. Some people have no physical manifestations, others have extreme, as in Reggie's case.
Yeah. Is there a certain test that needs to be performed that people should ask for if they have any suspicion at all?
Well, it's diagnosed based on a set of criteria, some of the criteria that I mentioned earlier. But genetic testing is, that's not really usually done, is it, John?
No, right now the genetic testing is not accurate enough to reliably decide if a person has NF or not. It's the physical symptoms by physical exam and the family history that helps us make the diagnosis.
50-50 chance that your children will have it?
Well, if you have the disorder, there's a 50-50 chance. But about half of the patients are the very first person in the family ever to have it. They're called spontaneous onset or spontaneous mutations.
Okay. And we mentioned earlier that the doctor had told Dorothy Reggie would live to only 10 years old. He's 34 now. But is that the most severe outcome of this disease?
If there are tumors that involve the spinal cord or involve the brain, then it's quite likely that it might cause you to die. But that's actually relatively uncommon. And I think part of the reason for that misinformation is we've learned so much more about NF type 1, and we just know we have a chance to look at people that are more mildly affected now.
Yeah. Thanks for educating us. We'll be right back right after this. We have a surprise for Reggie, and you won't want to miss his reaction when we let him know where he and his mom are headed for some sun and fun. Stay tuned. Reggie Bibbs is 34, and he has met more famous people and touched more lives than most people do in a lifetime. Now, Reggie, besides being a spokesperson for this disease, you also have a regular job that you do every day.
Yes, I do.
Where do you work?
I work at Goodwill Industries, and I'm one of the dispatchers.
Yeah, and the neat thing about Goodwill Industries is that no one's discriminated against because of a so-called disability. Your boss, Leonard, is here with us this morning. Good morning.
How y'all doing?
Doing fine. So what kind of worker is he?
Reggie's a great worker. You know, I cherished the opportunity when he was brought in there. We needed a dispatcher, and Reggie was brought in. It was a little surprising when I first saw him, but I was able to relate. You know, being having a disability myself, being in the fire several years ago and losing my legs, I've had to experience some of the things Reggie's experienced, people pointing and making comments, but I learned to look over that, and then when I meet people like Reggie, it encourages me more because I know that there's somebody else out there that have been through what I've been through, and it encourages me. Reggie's a great person, and I've just enjoyed the opportunity to work with him.
And Leonard has also told us that you work all the time. You work so hard, Reggie. So what we want you to do right now is we want you to take a look at that television monitor right over there, okay? Okay, we're going to take a look at that. We can see something here in a second. There we go. Okay, do you know what that is? Do you have any idea what that is? That is SeaWorld in San Antonio, and we're going to send you and your mom an all-expense-paid trip, and all you have to do is pick the date, and I can tell you that I was in SeaWorld like a couple of weeks ago. It is the most fun, and you'll have a great time, I guarantee it. And that's not all. You also got to look good on your vacation. So we have Harold and Daryl Wiesenthal, who are with us today, and they have a gift certificate for you, so you can just like look like a dapper man there.
Come on out and get some dressed up.
Okay, Sharon Stone's going to be wanting another picture with you after this outfit here. And Harold, you had been on our show a while back talking about manic depression disorder, and so you kind of know, you can relate to what it's like to have people coming at you like this.
Well, since I was on your show, I've had a lot of people come at me about questions about depression. It's just like Reggie, it's nothing to be ashamed of, and the people that love him like he is, and I love Reggie. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, and I hope we both live together for a long, long time, Reggie.
Yeah. And also, Reggie, we have a young lady on the phone this morning, Blanche from Pasadena, who wanted to pass on some words to you as well. Good morning, Blanche.
Good morning. I just wanted to tell Reggie that I really feel blessed that my deformatory is nothing to his. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I find myself when I go to the washateria, I have women come up to me and ask me what's wrong with my hands.
Well, Blanche, you have just proved today that Reggie was able to touch your life as well. We thank you for calling in today, and we hope that you got some encouragement from Reggie this morning as well. Thank you. We'll be right back. When you board a plane, could you be offending everyone around you and you don't even know it? Tomorrow on Debra Duncan, minding your manners as we approach the new millennium. From minding your pager and cell phone P's and Q's to conducting yourself properly on a date. New age etiquette on tomorrow's Debra Duncan. To raise money for neurofibromatosis, and it's taking place this weekend. It's sponsored by the NF Foundation. It is the Crawfest 99, and that is Saturday, June 12th, 2 to 10 p.m., and you can call that number on your screen for information, 713-923-1188. I want to say thank you so much to all of my guests today, because you've proved over and over again that it is about the person on the inside, not the person on the outside. And I think you're handsome anyway, Reggie, on the outside, too. All right, have a great day, everybody.